house guest. Welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Jeremy Strain, a fellow 1991 baby. What's up, Jeremy? And he's got 2 quick questions. Number 1, what would be my biggest flaw in the game if I was playing? I would have a lot of flaws, but I think one of the biggest problems I would have would be overthinking things. I am definitely an overthinker, and I think that would drive me insane. So yeah, overthinking. And number 2, what do I think of the hashtag Raven exposed party? That is a good question. I know a lot of people have been speculating about the severity of Raven's illnesses, and I try not to get involved in things like this, like the hashtag blank exposed parties, because I'm not like a social media sleuth, and I'm definitely not a doctor. So I'm not sitting here like looking at Raven's medical records. I can't say if she's as sick as she says she is, whatever. I mean, I would feel awful saying like that person's not terminal, blah, 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 and then they actually are. So like I try to stay out of that stuff. I do think that she has gastroparesis, absolutely. I think maybe she exaggerates a little bit as part of her gameplay, trying to get some sympathy. I don't know for sure, but those are my thoughts. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And please be nice, because this is still a human being. Alright, we gotta remember that, right? These are all people. Anyway, in case you missed it, Jessica did not use the veto yesterday, so Ramses and Josh are still up on the block. And just to catch you up to speed, Jess's target is Josh, but right now the votes are going to be 7-3 to evict Ramses. And everybody's in on this blindside plan, except for Jess, Cody, Ramses, Mark, and Elena. Oh, something tells me Elena's going to be very upset when she finds out that she wasn't in on this vote. Mark is just going to be like, what? But I think Elena's going to be really upset. Alright, so it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts to that. Okay, so the majority group are already planning their next move. Paul, Alex, and Jason were in the Apple Lounge, and first of all, for this week, they're just going to lie about how they're voting until the eviction. They don't want to cause any drama, you know, they're just going to be like, yep, we're voting out Josh, and then at the last minute, nope, we're voting out Ramses. So then they're talking about next week, and Alex says Mark has to go next. He's got to, we can't, he's got to go. And Paul and Jason are like, wait, what? Cody's got to go next. And then Mark, and Alex is like, oh yeah, absolutely. So then Paul is thinking maybe even Cody and then Jess before Mark, because Mark isn't really a competition threat. He hasn't shown himself to be very good at comps, and they can leave him around for a little while longer because they can just take him out whenever. He's not going to be able to really defend himself winning vetoes and stuff. They're not really worried about him. I guess that makes sense. So then Christmas and Matt were having a game chat in the bathroom area, and they definitely noticed that Mark and Elena are playing both sides. They're making it super obvious. They've recently started going around, or at least Elena has, going around asking people about their votes and then reporting back to Jess just to make sure everybody's still on board to vote out Josh. They're not. But Christmas is like, wow, this is really making me believe that what Cody said was true, and she's referring to her conversation with Cody before she left for her surgery about Mark and Dominique being involved in Cody's plan to put Paul and then herself up on the block. So she's saying, like, yeah, it's all adding up. His behavior is matching what Cody was saying. So she's pretty convinced it was true. And she says that Mark is just freaking mean and aggressive, even when he's not on Slob. I would agree with that. Matt says that he's a little baby. I would also agree with that. Okay, so then they start talking about Jess's HOH this week, and Christmas thinks it was stupid that Jess did not use the POV on Ramses. She's saying if she was really serious about getting out Josh, she would not have left Ramses up on the block like that. It's too easy to just flip and take out Ramses instead. I would agree with that too. This conversation, I'm getting it. Okay, so then Matt is feeling really nervous about one of the others winning the HOH because they lost against Jess and Cody last week when it was 10 versus 2. And now the other side has more numbers because they're probably going to have Mark and Elena also because they're going to be so pissed that they were left out on this blind side. But then again, never underestimate. I wouldn't be surprised if the Paul pull was so strong that they were just like, oh my gosh, we'll do anything, I'm so sorry, right? But Christmas is like, yeah, it's really pissing her off because the people in their group need to freaking step up their comp game. She is injured, and she was the last one hanging on in that HOH comp out of her group. So she's like, people in this group are way too comfortable. They don't feel like they have to win. That needs to change. Okay, so then I mentioned yesterday that Ramses lost a pool bet to Matt the other day. And his punishment was wearing Matt's invisibility cloak, aka his Texas Longhorns take. I really hope he watched that first because Matt wears that like every day. But don't worry, Matt has another tank top. This one is blue, and he rolled the shoulders under just like he did the other one, so he disappeared again when he put the shirt on. Anyway, Raven and Christmas were talking in the kitchen. Oh, sorry, Ramses and Christmas were talking in the kitchen. And I'm not sure who initiated this conversation because the feeds jumped over after it already started. But they were talking about the vote this week, and Christmas is like, I want to let you know, I'm going to be throwing Josh a sympathy vote, but everybody else should be voting for you to stay, so you should be fine. And she's saying she already talked to Jess about it, but she told Jess, like, if you're too nervous about this and you don't feel comfortable with it, I can switch my vote back and vote out Josh like everybody else. She's not gonna do that. But Ramses is like, yeah, I get it. It makes sense. You do what you gotta do. I don't think he's too happy about it. That's my dog snoring, by the way. A lot of you guys ask about that in the comments. She's very tired. Okay, so then Ramses and Jess were chatting in the backyard, and Jess is like, Ramses, if anybody comes up to you asking if it's cool if they throw Josh a sympathy vote, you tell them no. Don't let anybody get away with that, because she wants a unanimous vote this week for Josh to go. So Ramses is like, well, I was just talking to Christmas before, and we had pretty much that exact conversation. She told me that she wants to throw Josh a sympathy vote because he's voted for her to stay a few times, and she doesn't want to turn her back on him. So she's like, you know what? You should freaking talk to Christmas again. Tell her that you're not okay with it. Tell her that you're not comfortable with it. And see if you can get her to switch that up, because it's not cool. And she's also encouraging Ramses to double check with Jason and Alex. She's a little bit worried about their votes too. You should be worried about pretty much everybody's votes. But she tells Ramses, Josh has been an absolute monster for the past 4 weeks, at least to her. She doesn't think he even deserves a sympathy vote, so get out of here with that crap. And then she's telling Ramses again, you need to talk to Alex, because she told Jess that she's mad at Josh and Ramses because supposedly they both broke a pair of Alex's glasses each, and she's not happy with them. So she was telling Jess, like, oh, I don't know which one I'm going to vote for. So she's being a little bit wishy-washy here, when before she promised Jess that she would vote however she wants her to, and that she would vote out Josh. So Ramses is like, I didn't break those glasses. So he's going to talk to her again and see what's up. Alright, so then Alex and Jason were talking in the money bedroom. Not about Ramses. This is different. Alex was saying that they need to get rid of Kevin before they get rid of Josh. She said that Kevin is being sketchy. He's giving them the wrong dates on purpose when they're studying, which is interesting because earlier Kevin was studying with Paul, and Paul was like, don't share these dates with anyone. We gotta be the only ones in here who know all this stuff. So I don't know if Kevin was intentionally giving them the wrong dates when they were studying, or if he just was giving them the wrong dates and like he didn't know what was up, because it's hard to tell when he's just like playing it up and when he's actually like unaware of things, because he definitely plays it up to a certain extent. So I don't know if he was lying to them or what. I feel like he wouldn't try to throw them off because he's always saying that he wants to go to the end with Paul, Alex, and Jason. So I don't see why he would try to mess them up. I just don't think that makes sense. But Alex tells Jason that they need to be studying every day. I don't see Jason being into that. Alright, so then, this is really interesting, guys. Jess and Kevin were talking out in the backyard, and the beginning of this discussion was cut off by Fish. But Jess told Kevin, that she got the last temptation. So she's telling him it's better than Paul's temptation. Debatable. She also tells him it lasts for 4 weeks. So she starts explaining it using like half-truths, half-like, straight-up lies. She's not being totally honest what the halting hex does. She doesn't call it the halting hex either. She just says that she got the temptation. So Kevin's like, wait, so what? You can't go on the block for like 4 weeks? No. But Jess tries to say like, yeah. And the punishment is for whoever puts us up on the block. She says us, not her. So she's trying to say like that this can protect more than one person, which it kind of can, because the halting hex, as far as I understand, she goes like, hey Julie, before they do the vote, and she's like, I want to halt this thing. And then both of those nominees are safe, and they basically do a reset for the week. You know, new HOH, new nominees, new veto, whatever. So it's basically like a reset, and there's just no eviction that week, as far as I understand. But she's playing it off as something different. So Jess is like, yeah, if the HOH tries anything, I have the power to inflict a punishment on them. And then Kevin's like, well, what's the punishment? And she's like, I don't want to reveal that right now. Okay, so again, she's claiming that she can protect multiple people with it, her and Cody. And Kevin's like, man, I'm really happy for you, but it just shows like all the beautiful people got the temptations. Kevin's so funny. Alright, so then he's like, I'm not going to tell anybody, but somebody might guess that you have it. Way to set yourself up for when you tell everybody. Alright, so then Jason and Kevin were in the Apple Lounge, and they're like, yeah, we gotta keep lying to the other side, gotta keep saying that you're voting out Josh this week so that we're all good and there's no drama. So then Kevin is like, you know what? Jess and Cody, they're playing it too cool. They must have gotten the temptation because they're playing it too cool right now. And then he's like, what if they have the temptation? Don't tell anyone I said that. I'm just guessing. So Jason's like, yeah, but even if they have the temptation, it's not like they can stop a vote. That's hilarious because that's exactly what it does. So Kevin's like, well, what if you put them up on the block and then they say that they can't go up because they have this temptation, and then they're able to put you up as a punishment? Think about that. So he's like, they know everybody in here hates them, so why are they acting so cool right now? Alright, so Kevin just basically told Jason that Jessica has the temptation without telling him. Alright, so then Jess and Cody are planning for next week. I just want to say too, once you tell Jason, the whole house is going to know. So Jess and Cody were up in the HOH room planning for next week, and they're very hopeful that Cody will win this next competition. And they decide they're definitely going for Paul, and they're trying to figure out the most effective way right now. They really come up with some kooky plans sometimes. I mean, they really messed up this week. They really did. So they feel like Paul is going to have to be backdoored. So they're like, let's put up Christmas, and then who else? Somebody else as a pawn. So Cody suggests Ramses as the other pawn. And Jess is like, oh, I really don't want to put him through that again. Like, I already did that to him this week. Girl, you're not even going to have the chance to do that. He's not going to be here. So then they're also planning ahead, and she agrees after some persuading that, yeah, Ramses and Christmas is a possibility. So then they're planning for what they're going to do if somebody else wins the HOH. So they're like, well, if Jason, Alex, Kevin, or Ramses, again, not going to be there, win HOH, they should push for Christmas and Paul as the targets. Good luck with that, because all the others are still going to be worshiping Paul. And then they're like, if somebody from our original alliance wins, meaning like the couples, we should push for Jason and Alex to go up against each other. Okay. So then Kevin and Paul were having a game chat in the Apple Lounge, and Kevin is just like, he's spilling stuff. He's spilling all over the place. It's getting messy. He's got to be careful. So Paul is like, Jess and Cody have to go up next week. And Kevin says, what if they have the temptation? Again, he says they're playing it way too cool right now. And Paul's like, I don't care. I'm not scared. It wouldn't even matter. He said that we're going after Cody, and if Jess has the temptation, she's not going to be able to protect him. I don't know about that. So Kevin is like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like production really wants Cody and Jess to stay around, though. I mean, it seems like a lot of things really worked out in their favor lately. So Paul's saying, I'm not going to let Cody beat me in another competition. It's just not going to happen. He feels like the next HOH is going to be mental comp, and he thinks he's got a really good shot at it. Alright, meanwhile, all this like serious game chatter going on. You got freaking Mark pouring guts to Elena out on the hammock. He's talking about an ex-girlfriend and how Elena has a similar dominant personality to this ex-girlfriend, and that really scares Mark because he's gonna fall quickly and it's gonna be bad. We don't care! Okay, so then Cody goes up to the HOH room with Jess, and he's like, hey, I think Paul's trying to get everyone to vote for Josh to stay. And Jess is like, that's exactly what I was afraid of. Apparently, Cody saw Paul and Kevin talking in the Apple Lounge. I guess he walked by and saw them in there. And Cody's like, I don't think Paul's going to be able to flip Kevin. That's not what they were talking about at that moment in the lounge, but he already flipped Kevin a while ago. So Jess is like, alright, don't get riled up. They could have been talking about anything, so just like relax. She says that Paul has been true to his word so far with her, and I guess she made some sort of deal with him while the feeds were down before nominations, like, I won't put you up on the block, but you need to support me this week, and then he promised he's going to return the favor and I guess keep them safe next week. That is definitely not happening. And Cody's like, I don't trust Paul. Yeah, you shouldn't. So then today, Cody and Ramses were chatting in the backyard, and Cody's like, you know what, Ramses? I believe you that you voted to evict Christmas and not Jillian that first wanky vote week. So he's like, I think people were just trying to stir the pot. Don't worry about it. So then Cody is talking about how he can't wait to see Josh go. He hopes he gets booed. He's in for a shock. Alright, so then it seems like Josh is starting to get a little bit nervous. He was all confident before and like having fun, acting sad, but now it's really taking a toll on him. He's like constantly going around to everybody in his group confirming their votes, and I think it's pissing a lot of people off. He's acting super paranoid, and he's having trouble pretending to be sad now. He wants to go out and socialize with everybody, and they're like, no, keep being sad. I think it's also getting to him that when he goes up to certain people like Alex, they'll be like, get away from me. I can't be seen with you right now because it's going to cause too much suspicion. So he's like freaking out and thinking like, oh my god, are they actually going to vote me out? Like, what's going on here? So they're just telling him, keep acting sad, you're doing a great job, but on the inside, I think it's starting to get to him a little bit. I would not be surprised if he has a freak out before the eviction on Thursday. We're 2 days away until the eviction. I don't know if he's going to make it. The other only interesting thing that happened so far today, Jessica got the Snapchat glasses. Woo! Okay, that's it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.